everyone, welcome to our presentation video of our article review. Our group members consist of 5. They are Nur Sarah Yasmin, Nur Nafisha Naznumi, Maizatul Alia, and Izati Shazan.
This article is written by Frankie Sabon from University Technology Mara, Shah Alam, Malaysia. It was published in January 2013. Purpose of this research is to look at those variations in speech between Malaysian men and women. The research was carried out by using structured interviews, direct observation, and recording. These characteristics were specifically chosen for this study due to their compatibility with the local environment and the amount of interest they have received in language and gender. Based on this research, we are going to discuss all the linguistic elements such as questions, hedges, adjectives, intonations, wordiness, and politeness. After reviewing transcripts of both genders' conversations and conducting data analysis based on themes or categories, it was found men and women have different linguistic characteristics in their speech. It has been revealed that men prefer to speak about their professions or doing things, while women, they discuss problems such as self, home feelings, and social affiliation. Women, on average, apply more politeness approaches than males. There is no difference in politeness between men and women. People naturally assume that women are more polite than men, where there is no such association in Malaysia. Men and women learn according to how important they are expected to be in a specific society or community. Recognizing these variations in speech will aid men and women in deeper understanding one another. The aim of this case study is to uncover the differences in linguistic features in the speech of men and women. The differences in the speech used by men and women are mainly marked by their choice in language forms, topics of conversation. Some of the distinct features in the speech of men are: they talk more than women, ask less questions, converse mainly on competitive matters, teasing, sports, aggression, and doing things. Men use slightly more of fillers, hedges, and affirmatives. While women focus on family, home, self, feelings, and affiliation with others. Women use more polite forms of address than men, such as Mac Ben or Ben's mom. Ask more questions, use more humors than men. Women use slightly less of fillers, hedges, and affirmatives. As a result, we can conclude that the overall finding proved linguistic features in the speech of men and women includes questions, inquiries, hedges, adjectives, intonations, wordiness, and politeness, as well as additional aspects such as the use of the form of address, humor, and conversation themes. The structure of this article was well managed from the introduction to conclusions. According to the author, male and female speech differ in terms of form, topic, content, and use. The author also uses expository as the style of writing in the article. As can be read from the article, the author has inserted a few things such as information on the concept of variation in speech between both genders. However, it is not possible to conclude that the differences in men's and women's speech are universal. As can be read from the article, the author has inserted a few things such as information on the concept of variation in speech between both genders. Women frequently talk about themselves, love, family, relationship, and feelings which tend to be more emotional. While men, they just talk casually and spontaneously in a conversation and usually will talk about sports, work and factual conversation, money, and business because they like a simple conversation. The author's purpose can be seen clearly in this article is that both genders have so many differences in their speech. Men rarely use term of address probably because the topic of conversation is more to work matters, due to the occupational topic discussed usually by men. Unlike women, they frequently used humor to express their excitement, bring more conducive atmosphere, and enhance more close relationships. Analyzing the linguistic forms used, women appear more polite than men as they prefer using their ethnic group terms of address when addressing and referring to one another. Indeed, this study provides some insight and understanding about the differences in men and women's linguistics features in the Malaysian context, which is made up of multiracial society and rich in its varied cultures, customs, traditions, beliefs, and religions. According to Nemedy and Bayer 2007, there are some social distinctions between men and women. These differences can be seen in the use of the terms of address, humor, directness and directness in speech, questions, politeness, intensifiers, and topics of conversations. First, address terms are used in linguistics to draw attention to something or to refer to someone else in a discussion. Based on the survey, it was discovered that women address more frequently than men. Different ethnic groups have their own polite ways of addressing one another. All races, including Badayuhiban, Lun Bawang, and Kenya, apply these addresses by using their eldest sons or daughters' names, such as Indai Dam or Dam's mother. For example, in most Malaysian women, they are most likely to use polite formsik as a kop to someone older than them to show politeness during conversation. However, men are usually use the same form of address, which is bro regardless of their age. Men do not use terms of address during conversation. This is likely due to men's preference for discussing work over women's preferences for discussing family, home, affiliation, self, and feelings. Next finding found by James and Drakish, 1993. The term verbosity refers to the amount of time a speaker spends talking. They believe that men speak more than women in conversations involving both sexes. And knowing things. The breakdown of the topics for the four conversations is shown below. Conversation 1. Rearing catfish in a canvas tank. Conversation 2. Growing lemon grass. Conversation 3. Growing bamboo. Conversation 4. Biodiesel. While women they discuss the self, feelings, affiliation with others, home, and family when talking to people of the same sex. This is listed in the breakdown of topics in their communications below. Conversation 1. Humor. Conversation 2. Skinning of mangoes. Conversation 3. Women fellowship. Conversation 4. Drying pillows. Conversation 5. BBS experience. Conversation 6. Taking things. Next, according to researcher, both genders used very few fillers, hedges, and affirmatives in their speech. However, men use slightly more fillers in terms like hedges and affirmatives. Example, men only used fillers to times such as and hum, while women only use it at once like yh. For hedges such as I think, men used it 3 times, while women only use it at 2 times. On the other hand, men used affirmatives such as yes 3 times, but women only used it once. This is because they are only discussing issues that are important to them, so they do not need to provide actual facts in their discussions. Furthermore, both genders do not use intensifiers to express their ideas because the topics of their conversations are petty issues relating to personal and social life. In addition, men do not use humor in their conversations because of the topic they are discussing, which focuses mainly on occupations. In other words, they converse about something rather factual and informative in nature. This can be seen in the example below. Conversation 1. Rearing catfish in canvas cage. Within 3 months, it's already about 200 grams, 200 to 300 grams. When I was in Ko before, I saw them selling it, about 200 grams, as big as the handle of a paring. In Ku, its head is already removed, digestive organ removed, only fibering at half a kilogram. In the above utterance, B is giving information that in 3 months, a catfish weighs 200 to 30 grams in size. He also recounted his past experience about seeing people selling catfish. Obviously, it is factual and informative in nature, which does not require him to use humor. Women's conversations are filled with giggles and laughter. Some of the humors used are as follows. Conversation 1, Humor 5. In the above conversation, they are making a humor as they talk about their friend who has not come to the gathering. They jokingly say that she is still grooming herself to look attractive. Humor is used frequently to create a relaxed atmosphere. Their conversations indeed filled with giggles and laughter. This one feature of women's conversations in this study makes it different from the men's. Topic of their conversations, which focuses mainly on occupations and informative in nature. According to James and Drakish, 1993, women's humor, which is frequently used to express excitement, is expected to gain more traction than men's in terms of creating a closer relationship. To be added, women use adjectives such as attractive, pretty, beautiful as big approvals for their friends in order to keep the interaction following effectively. This scenario is linked with the finding of Lakoff, 1975, whereby it has been stated that men used lesser adjectives than women. Men conversations are devoid of comedy, which results in fewer giggles. Next, based on the interview, women asked 13 questions while men only asked 5 questions during the 4 conversations. This is most likely due to the fact that their conversation issues or concerns are primarily about jobs, and they receive less requests and queries during fee conversations. Last but not least, both genders are direct in their speaking. However, there are times when they are indirect. Lastly, it is discovered that women used more polite linguistic forms than men. This is ascertained as women use polite forms of address when addressing one another as discussed early in this chapter. On the contrary, men do not use any forms of address with one another in their conversation in this study. This finding confirmed the finding by Brown 1980. That women demonstrate more politeness strategies than men do. In the interviews conducted after the conversations, the women respondents reasoned that the used forms of address are used to show politeness, while the men participants claimed that they do use polite forms such as "Appai dom ordumstad," conversing with other speakers who are not close to them. It is generally believed that women are more polite than men. However, some authors claim that men are more polite than women in public. Some studies even claim that there are no differences in politeness between men and women. Men and women use the same number of polite forms such as please, thank you, and greetings. Therefore, in Sarawak, Malaysia, a study has found a unique gender difference in spoken language among specific ethnic groups. The usage of terms of address, questions, adjectives, verbosity, and politeness are all markedly different in speech. The present study has revealed that there are differences in linguistic features in the speech of men and women. Although there is a similarity in terms of directness in speech, the differences are prevalent in the use of the terms of address, humor, questions, verbosity, adjectives, politeness, and topics of conversations. Nevertheless, only slight differences are found in the use of other features such as fillers, hedges, and affirmatives, but no difference is identified in the use of intensifiers. Must be noted that the results of this study may not be applicable to other men and men in other places and of other races, as the respondents are made up of only the randomly selected men and women among some of the ethnic groups in Siburan district, Kuching, who have their own characteristics. It may be different from men and women in other districts, towns, regions, and countries. Besides, understanding these differences in speech will help men and women to understand one another better and develop effective communication across genders. According to the Conflict Research Consortium, University of Colorado, USA, in its article, Cross-Cultural Communication Strategies, it is emphasized that the key to effective cross-cultural communication is knowledge. For future research, it is crucial to see the differences between men's and women linguistic features when they engaged in cross-gender and cross-ethnic communication. That's all from this article.